So today is the 70th anniversary of the death of Stalin, and at the time he had ruled for like 30 years. I mean, Putin has been in charge essentially. I mean, granted, we saw Medvedev take over for a while, but let's be honest, Putin was still in charge for a couple decades now. And we see a lot of parallels between Stalin and Putin. Stalin created a cult of personality surrounding him where he made people believe, and the Russians actually believed, that there would be no Russia without Stalin's leadership. And that is what Putin is doing now. He is making it seem like Russia will die as a culture, as a people, without Putin. And the people in Russia believe that. The majority of them, tens of millions of people in Russia, believe that even after Putin is gone, we need to keep some form of Stalin or Putin-esque policies to ensure Russia stays at the forefront or stays wherever they think they are. Because let's be honest, they're not even a top 10 GDP. They're not one of the best nations in the world. They're not hegemonic in any way. Basically, they're a bully with nuclear weapons. But the Russian propaganda is extraordinarily effective. And nothing in the 200-year history of Russia shows that once Putin is gone, anything's going to change. We're likely just going to get the next iteration of this Stalin, Putin level leadership. I mean, yes, we've had a couple of decent leaders such as Gorbachev or Yeltsin, but they were products of their time. Essentially, they had to kowtow to the West because their failed system failed so catastrophically that if they didn't get on board with Western thinking, their culture and country would have actually collapsed into civil war and mammoth problems. So because of the aid and assistance the West gave to the post-Soviet Union, they had to come hat in hand and seem more westernized. Well, when it became clear Putin didn't need the West as much, or he could use what the West wanted from him, specifically energy, he leveraged that and went back to the old traditional ways of Russia, the Stalin-esque ways, the ways of it's Russia and nobody else, and we're going to hurt people that are in our way. And we see that now. Unfortunately, though, that's what Russia's culture responds to. And as I said, millions and millions of people in Russia love Putin just like they love Stalin still. And Putin can do no wrong. He could kill hundreds of thousands of Russians in a foolish battle in Ukraine. He could put tens of thousands in prisons, just like Stalin, and the millions he killed and the millions he put in prison. But the people will still revere him and put statues up of him. So unfortunately, the fight against this thought process is going to be, once again, a multi-generational fight. We see a large amount of what we would call the baby boomer population absolutely subscribing to Putin level propaganda because they recall the former Soviet Union and how they felt powerful relative to the West. No country wants to feel weak. And because of that, the people of the former Soviet Union, which are mostly boomers, because most Gen Xers were very young and millennials weren't even alive, really. They were extraordinarily young themselves. When the Soviet Union collapsed, they saw the worst parts of the Soviet Union. But unfortunately, Putin is rewriting history. He's rewriting the history of the Soviet Union. He's rewriting everything. He's in fact even editing photos to show Russia in such a good light that we now have to not only fight the propaganda of Russia in voice, we have to fight the propaganda of Russia in image, where they remove certain things such as mass graves from places and flat out deny, like Holocaust deniers that supported Nazi Germany and still do. They deny the Holodomor took place, or they denied Stalin actually killed 20 million plus people. They're doing the same for Putin, and Putin is once again setting Russia up to be a country where they truly believe that if Putin dies, someone who is in the same line of thinking or worse must succeed Putin, because without Putin, Russia ends as a civilization, as a people. And it's really sad for those Russians that this is where we've come to. We've come full circle to we left Stalin behind 70 years ago, and we're once again now seeing a very Stalin-esque regime in Putin. He just can't do as much as Stalin because, frankly, Russia is just not nearly as powerful relative to the rest of the countries that are countering him, like was happening during the Soviet Union. So we'll see how this plays out, but just know the Russian people, they celebrate Stalin. They think he was an amazing leader, and now they celebrate Putin, despite the fact that we and the rest of the world look back at Stalin and go, holy shit, this dude was a monster. Now we all look at Putin and go, holy shit, this guy's a monster. To the Russian people, he's their savior.